Hi, everyone. Hello.
If you're scrolling, stop and listen to us for a minute. We have some exciting tips and challenges to challenge you as we finish the year. Just some encouragement in how you should possibly approach the new year and some things that we're going to be offering.
Yes, so excited to be here, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on Joy's LinkedIn, and we'll be sharing it. Dennis and I will be sharing it, but I think everybody who's on Joy's LinkedIn knows who she is. But we're going to be talking today about million-dollar mindset, with which I know Joy speaks a lot about growth mindset, and we're going to be talking about stepping into 2025 using a killer keynote and compelling content because Joy did an amazing TED talk. And we just, Dennis and I have had so many people reach out because he has a digital marketing company and I also have a marketing and PR company. And we have so many people reaching out because I organized the TEDx about getting on stages and how to build your brand. So we're going to talk about some tips today about mindset, messaging, and then mastery. And then we have some tools and links that we're going to be sharing. So maybe Joy can just jump in and speak about mindset because I know that's one of your strengths and your areas of expertise. And having done, I think, almost 20 Ironman now, you know something about mindset.
Well, when it comes to anything, and I actually did a post earlier this week, and I listed a list of things that require zero talent. Right? There's so many things that we could be accomplishing and doing that don't require any talent, which means there's no excuse. Things like persistence, passion, consistency, being coachable, challenging yourself. There's so many areas that we can take action that require zero talent. They just require showing up and being committed. And I think, when it comes to building your brand, sharing your message, if your goal is to get on a stage, become a speaker, possibly do a TED talk, those types of things, it really comes down to consistency. I talk a lot too about aggressive patience, which is the concept that you're continually working on yourself, even though you might not know exactly how it's going to pay off yet. You're doing these things, you're doing the hard things, you're growing, you're becoming a high performer each day so that it will compound and eventually that leads to a lot of high performance. But it's just really important, I think, in the moment that you're consistent and you're looking for ways to grow and develop yourself. And that's what we're wanting to talk about. That's what we're wanting to help people with. So many people want to elevate their brand. They want the opportunity to speak. And it just starts with taking that first step. There's no magic like, here's a button and then you're going to have access to all these things. You're going to become a big brand. You're going to have all these keynote, speaking opportunities. It doesn't work like that. It works on what you're doing each day consistently to grow yourself. And aggressive patience means that when that opportunity shows up, because you were aggressive while being patient, when the opportunity arises, you're prepared and you're ready and you're qualified to step into the opportunity. So that's a lot of what we're going to be speaking about and showing you how to chase that.
That's great. And I know that everybody's juggling so much. And speaking of that, I'm going to let Dennis introduce himself. But he and I just hosted last month a $1 million weekend with some incredible speakers and a lot of knowledge shared. And I know Joy and and Dennis are working on something January 31st that we're going to be announcing at the end of this conversation. But Dennis, I'll let you introduce yourself, let people know who you are and what you do, and a little bit about mindset and marketing.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much, and I apologize for my appearance. I'm heading to another meeting, on the go all the time. It's a busy season for us, but Joy, I couldn't have said better myself about the consistency. That's one of the main points that my clients try to stay on top of is the consistent inbound and consistent messaging across all the platforms. What really compounds for personal branding. I think messaging and being consistent is very important. So I'm very excited to kind of get into it. Just a little background about myself. Yeah, I run a full service digital marketing agency. So we partner up with Cindy, and we're excited to kind of continue our $1 million message and $1 million weekend, and really excited to put together this event on January 31st, which we're calling $1 million Keynote. So looking forward to jumping in and sharing some insights how we can take 2025 by the horns and really maximize the impact.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting. And I know that Joy has shared too that, a lot of people reach out because she's done a TEDx and she did such an incredible job. And if you haven't seen Joy's TEDx, maybe we can put that on the screen for a moment just to share because, and maybe Joy, you can give people a little bit of insight about your journey with that and getting on the TEDx stage and what it was like. And because I know so many people have that on their bucket list for 2025 and beyond.
I think yes, and I think what's so special and challenging, and what really grows you in doing a TEDx, is the fact that you only have a very small amount of time to kind of zero in on what you want that message to be, how you want to inspire the audience, kind of maybe even surrounding what your purpose is here to be a speaker. How are you trying to influence people? That's what an influencer is. It's not about, hey, look at me. That's not what an influencer is supposed to be. An influencer is about influencing behavior and giving a message that even if it just changes one person in a positive direction, then you're an influencer. And I really respect the role, very, very much. Once again, the best influencers are not look at me, it's look at you and look at your potential and look what you can do. Here's my kind of path of how I've achieved this and this, but I want it to be your roadmap, to be able to achieve your big goals and to find out what that you were made for more. And that's kind of what my speech centered around was, reminding everybody that we all have a purpose for being here. And it's really important that we take the time to go back to look at our story, even all the way back to when we're kids. That's usually when it's revealed to us, because that's the time in our life when we actually dream big and we're not afraid to have big goals. We're not afraid to chase big things because we haven't been scarred yet by society telling us that we can't, or other people's limiting beliefs haven't quite sunk into us yet. And so many times, if you can go back to your big dreams as a child, it's kind of the key to unraveling and revealing your full potential and maybe what your purpose should be and what you should be chasing, and just kind of opening that mindset all over again. And like I said, looking back at things you've overcome and did as a child and looking at those dreams will really help you find you're made for more. And so in that speech, I mean, the best part of doing that speech was actually discovering how to put all that into a concise and powerful message, and then to be able to get up there and deliver it. And it was definitely one of the most special moments being on that stage, because even though I was, I think, like the last speaker, the last, or right there at the end, I think I might have been almost the last speaker. The audience was still on the edge of their seats because they were there to grow, they were there to learn, and they had so much respect because they were there to listen to what we had to say, and it just meant so much, and it was definitely life-changing and has opened up a lot of opportunities for me.
Joy, yeah, I wanted to jump in and kind of ask you a follow-up question.
Sorry, Mike.
How did the TEDx stage, how did that transform your personal brand? How were you able to leverage that opportunity and utilize that content, utilize that sizzle from that stage? That How did it open up doors for other speaking opportunities and other guest spots on other shows?
Well, I think, when anybody sees TEDx speaker, it's kind of like a stamp of, validity on you, I believe. And so even just having it in your profile is huge. Even if you don't have on your profile that, or if you're promoting that you do keynotes or anything like that, just having that title there behind your name, that you have experience, that you were chosen, and that you were able to do a TEDx, that right there is just a big stamp of validity, and will have people wanting to, hear your message, or they'll reference your message, or even just the fact that they'll go Google your talk, and then they'll want you to come speak. And so, it really did open up a lot of opportunities for me, even though I'm in the world of healthcare professionally. It also just showed them that, my communication skills and, being able to communicate things, was on a different level. And I feel like that's kind of the stamp of approval that being able to do a TEDx puts on you.
Yeah, and just to speak to that, I mean, just having a TED Talk, I mean, I've been organizing TEDx Boca Raton for almost 10 years now, and we're going to be announcing our 2025 date soon. But I think that so many people that submit, believe it or not, some people forget to or don't include a video. And I feel like that is a huge mistake if they don't submit a video with their application. But I will share a couple of tips, and we have Jim behind the scenes. So shout out to Jim. I'm going to ask him to maybe share the 10 tips that we have from the Forbes Council article that I wrote. And maybe we can put that on the screen so that we can speak to those different points. Or if it's not on the screen, I can speak to the different points quickly. Just because a lot of people make some mistakes or mishaps, or they've submitted and they're not sure why they're not getting selected. And lots of times I tell people it really is not about making a mistake. Sometimes it's just a numbers game. So I always tell people, don't put all your eggs in one basket. If there's only 10 slots on the stage, and there's 200 applications, it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with your submission. If you're an AI specialist, if your talk is on AI, and we have 20 other people that have submitted on AI, and 5 of them are amazing, and that sometimes doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with your submission. So I did want to share that. I always suggest putting out a Google alert. That's something that Heather Monahan, our friend, and she did a TED Talk at TEDx Boca Raton in 2019. She always shares that she submitted to over 100 TEDx stages, and she also put out a Google alert so that she could get notified when submissions opened, or if there was any announcements about TED stages. So I want to share, number one is, sometimes your submission is about you and your story. And that honestly is a mistake, because TED, the governing body of TEDx, they actually have rules and guidelines, and we'll share a video about that too. But one of the things that their guidelines says is that the talk is not a story about you and your journey, although you can certainly weave that into your TED Talk. The TEDx is about an idea worth spreading, right? So it's something that anyone could take away and find relevance, whether that's inspiration, motivation, education. So just when you make your submission, make sure that you're going on TED.com and finding the guidelines and following those guidelines, because that's really important. We at TEDx Boca Raton, again, we've been doing it this is our 9th year. So we've been doing it a long time, and we know that TED is very strict with their guidelines. So we want to make sure that your talk is following the guidelines of an idea worth spreading versus just a talk about you. So if you submit and you say, tell us about your triumph over tragedy, and it's not something that is about an idea, you have to, hone in on what that idea is. In Joy's case, her idea was you were meant for more, right? And then she tied in her personal journey and her story into her idea. So just keep that in mind. And then again, I mentioned this, again, just following the guidelines, and we'll put in the chat a talk that it's not actually a talk. It's someone from TED that has a video. It's about a 20-minute video called, What Makes a Great TED Talk by June Cohen. And that shares so much valuable information. I've watched it literally hundreds of times because whenever we're working with a TEDx speaker, we're helping them, guide them through the process, and we have to put that TEDx thinking cap on. And it really is custom for every single speaker. It's not like you can just follow, check, check, check off the list. You want to customize everything for every speaker. So the other thing we always recommend is to think about a title, because just like email marketing, and maybe Dennis can speak to this a little bit, but a title is something that you want it to be compelling. So honestly, there's been so many great TED Talks that don't necessarily have the best title that interests people, and they're actually amazing talks, but they don't always go viral because the headline is not necessarily the strongest headline. So you want to make sure, the headline is really strong, and give that some research. There's a lot of apps out there now that you can use to help create a headline. And actually ChatGPT is a great way also. Do you want to add to that at all, Dennis or Joy?
Yeah, I mean, do you want to share?
I can add a little bit to it.
Go ahead, Dennis. You go first.
Go ahead, Joy. You go.
Well,
I'll go after you. Go ahead.
Okay, just in searching, as we were deciding my title, Cindy, it was real cool to know that there are tools out there that you can kind of type in the title, and it kind of gives them a score as to SEO optimization and that type of thing. And we saw that score, continue to change just as we moved words around or retitled it. And I don't remember who it was. It may have been Heather who had mentioned at some point, or somebody else, who they did the exact same TED Talk, maybe at 2 different locations or something similar. And the only thing different was the title, and one went viral and the other didn't. So, absolutely the title is a big part, and coming up with, exactly how to title your talk is very important.
Dennis, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, I was going to say, the title is really important when it comes to anything, any content that you're putting out online. We recommend clients to kind of do a little bit of a keyword research to see what people are searching for, to see what's kind of trending with the search, and then come up with a compelling and engaging content that people might be searching for. We have a lot of clients try to write the tales of artificial intelligence, so there's a lot of titles and topics with AI built into it, because that gets a lot of searches these days. But more importantly, I think the title also has to match your level of expertise. If you're going to become a thought leader in your space, you want to make sure that that topic, that keyword is always in your title, because you want to get branded for that specific industry or that specific niche expertise. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, no, I think those are great, important tips. And so we'll jump back into.
So I think, that's definitely important.
Yeah, we'll jump back into this article that I put together for Forbes Council a couple of years ago. That it's still very relevant. Doing your research when you're making a submission for, especially for TEDx or any keynote, actually, if you're, pitching a corporate environment, you want to make sure you do your research on who they are and what their messaging is, what they stand for, what their vision and mission is. But especially with TED, you want to demonstrate through your submission that you understand the process, the familiarity with the format, and the goal of the organization, so that you are, your submission stands out. One thing that I think is really important that a lot of people think they need to really, beef up their background as a keynote speaker for TED. That is not necessary at all. We actually love putting people on stage that really are unsung heroes that don't necessarily have a portfolio of keynotes, because we want to share their story. We always try to, we're marketers and we have to sell tickets to our event. So we try to weave in some, people that are very skilled at speaking with some newbies, so that we can give the audience a great opportunity and a great experience. But just keep in mind that, don't be intimidated by people that have done TED Talks. Like Joy happens to be a gifted communicator. She's amazing, and she has a media background. And even with that, she has shared with me and with a lot of people that she practiced so much. And I know Heather talks about this too. Everyone's different, but even the most skilled communicators practice, practice, practice. And so I just want to make sure that I share that, you don't have to be an influencer. You don't have to be an incredible speaker to submit. Sometimes your idea, if there's an idea there that is meaningful, don't be afraid to submit. And maybe Joy, you can speak to that a little bit too.
Yeah, I would almost add that I think other people, I've heard this from other people as well, people who have a natural knack to quote unquote, wing it, and, show up and speak. It's great for them if they've got a 30 to an hour speech, right? I mean, that's easy. That's where we shine. But actually, it's harder for those type of people to dial in and do a short, concise TED Talk, because all of a sudden you can't feed off of those natural skills of kind of, going with the flow, and you have to really plan it out. And that's actually more challenging. So my point in saying that is, if speaking doesn't come naturally to you, it's actually maybe a plus for something like a TED Talk, because because it's so short, because it's so concise, you will have to plan it completely out and follow those points in your head and have it very structured. And that's actually, maybe more comforting for people who don't have that natural gift of, being able to, just kind of go with the flow. So in that case, don't let that scare you or stop you. It's actually an advantage for you, I think, personally.
I agree 100%. And I'm going to zip through the rest of these so we can speak to some other points here. But one other tip here is just to make sure that you're reaching out to committee members, organizers, do your research, go behind the scenes, see who the organizers are in your area, reach out to them. But also remember that the organizers and the committee members are all volunteers. And so you want to make sure that you're doing the work, that the research, that you've looked and see what types of things that they're looking for, what the topic is, that type of thing. But I do think it's very valuable to, whatever your area is. And if it's South Florida, like for example, we have TEDx Boca Raton, we have TEDx Miami, we have TEDx Miramar, we have TEDx Delray. There's TEDx Broward College, I believe. There's so many in the area that you can do your research. You can reach out to organizers, committee members. Again, spread it around. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, because everybody's, there's only a certain limited, like ours is once a year. So with only 10 spots, even if we get, 50 amazing submissions, we only have 10 spots. So just, it's important to put it out there. And then if you're from, like, for example, if you're from Michigan or New York or Georgia, look in those areas if you're living in a different area, because then you do have a connection to that space too. The other thing I would recommend always is volunteer, before you get involved or to be a speaker, ask to volunteer for an event. We're always looking for volunteers. I always like to share this amazing success story. One of our volunteers, she volunteered for 5 years at TEDx Boca Raton and as a photographer. And then she submitted in 2018, and she was selected as a speaker. She was amazing. Her name's Cece Esput. And since then, she's done 2 TEDx talks, and she now is an organizer of TEDx Miramar. So it gives you just such a leg up to understand the mechanics of the event, and who the players are, who the people are, what they're looking for, the whole dynamic, if you do volunteer. So, and it helps the event. And then also, just a couple other things. Don't take it personally. As I mentioned, it's really not, there's nothing wrong with you or your submission if you do not get selected. But I would definitely go back to the drawing board, look at the guidelines again, see if you can follow them, or submit to multiple locations, because it really isn't necessarily that there's anything wrong with your talk. And then just keep submitting. Just keep submitting if that's what your goal is, to get a TED Talk. Or to be a keynote speaker. Just keep submitting. There's so many different resources out there that can help you. And, I do want to give a shout out also to Heather. I know we mentioned her a couple times, Heather Monahan. Jim, maybe you can share in the chat. Heather has a mastermind. It actually started yesterday. It's a 4-week mastermind, but she has an incredible community, and I've been invited to several of them. I've met so many of the great human beings that participate, and she has such a wealth of knowledge. She opens up her Rolodex and her connections to 20 years of contacts and people that can help you craft your message and your story. And it's just an incredible community. So it's something I would highly recommend. As I mentioned, I've participated in a few via Zoom and in person. And I'm sure it started yesterday, but I'm sure you're still able to join. And she usually records each session. But the beauty of it is, it really is a community. And, you learn from each other and you help one another. And I know Joy and I and Dennis too, we really believe in the power of community. And that's one of the reasons that, we created the $1 Million Weekend. We have a free community. So if you're interested in being part of that, let us know. Send me an email. You can send it to cindy@cindymetzler.com, or you can DM us on social. Definitely LinkedIn is a great place to send a note. But we can invite you to the $1 Million Weekend Circle. It's just an incredible community. And again, right now it's completely free. You get a lot of access to these events that we participate in, and discounted events, et cetera, et cetera. So I wanted to hand it over to Joy just to speak a little bit about community too, because I know with what you do, so many aspects in your healthcare business and also in your athletic, achievements, just community is so important. And you have a podcast, and maybe you can speak to that and how that's kind of, really helped you.
It makes all the difference in the world to be, surrounded not just in a community, but in a community that really pushes you. I always say that, you need to up the baseline of the people you surround yourself with. And, definitely, and here's why. When I say baseline, I mean, baseline is what you believe is normal, right? If you hang around people, I'll take it from a fitness aspect. If you hang around people that they're like, oh man, a mile is so far, that's so hard. And you grow up maybe thinking that running a mile is really far and hard, that's going to always seem really hard to you, right? But when I say up your baseline, when you start hanging around people that are running 5Ks or running 10Ks, and, it's very normal. It's, it's like what everybody does in their opinion, then all of a sudden your perspective of it changes. And, you take that up a level, you start to get it into even longer endurance things. And, the circle I'm running in now, it's like, the things they do, I feel like a slacker because they're out there doing crazy things, but they've normalized it. And, the same comes to, growing your business, the way, women are out there supporting women, the opportunities, your view of money, your view of savings, just all the things. You really have to surround yourself with the type of people that you want to be like, because once that's kind of normalized around you, you'll expect more of yourself and you'll be willing to take on those challenges. And that's what community does for you. You're surrounded by people who are not only like-minded, but maybe people who are ahead of you. And I always want to be, maybe the weakest or the, not the smartest in the room, because that's how I'm going to grow and that's how I'm going to get better. So community is so important in all aspects of our life.
Yeah, I think my video is frozen, and so I'm just going to speak so sorry, you guys, but I did want to maybe we can just share a little tiny clip, Jim, of the What Makes a Great TED Talk video. And again, we'll keep that in the chat so that we can share that. And this is a valuable tool, hopefully, for anyone listening and anyone who's joining on the replay, so that we can you can have these tools at your fingertips, so that if your goal is to do a TED Talk, if your goal is to do a keynote, if your goal is to build your thought leadership, these tools can help you. Jim, are you able to share that What Makes a Great TED Talk? Okay, perfect. Thank you. We'll just watch a couple minutes of it, and I think it's a really great tool. It's 20 minutes, so we'll just play like the first
what makes a great TED Talk? It is a super important question that unfortunately has no answer. There's no formula. There's no single formula for a TED Talk. There's no shortcut. There's no silver bullet. There's no one-size-fits-all strategy. I think you all already know that. The truth is every TED Talk has to be crafted from the ground up to really authentically represent a speaker's idea and their personality. But over the years, we have found that there are certain factors that describe almost all great TED Talks, and we have found ways to both identify and articulate those factors, and I wanted to share some of them with you today. And what I want to do is do that through the lens of the almost, sort of the near misses, the TEDx talks that almost made TED.com, the talks that we love but lacked one critical factor that kept them from quite getting there. And this, it might sound flip, but this is actually a really important lens, because every time there's a talk we love that doesn't quite make TED.com, it honestly breaks our heart because we see the potential. But each time it happens, it also teaches us something about how to better train speakers to give a talk that truly represents their idea and truly meets its potential. So
okay, I think
that's, Jim,
that's fine for now. I just wanted to give a little,
which is that all great TED Talks have an idea at their center.
There we go. Yeah, so just keep that in mind. It has to have an idea at its center. But this is such a great video for everybody to watch. I know that we shared it. We share it with all of our TEDx speakers when we start the TEDx journey, once they are accepted and we announce that they're part of TEDx Boca Raton. That's one of the tools that we give them. And then we assign a coach. So if you are, if one of your goals is to, do a TED Talk or learn about the journey, we have so many different resources. Feel free to reach out on LinkedIn, and Joy can certainly help with that too. But we have a resource filled with coaches. Again, Heather Monahan has an incredible community. We have some speaker coaches that we can refer you to. And then we do want to share this big event that we have coming up in January on the 31st, that Joy is going to be our headline speaker. And we're giving people the opportunity to basically create content around themselves, so we can walk everyone through the process. But really what this is about is chronicling capturing your keynote on stage. And Dennis's team does an incredible job with video content creation. So basically we're building an event around you. And if you are looking to build your brand and you want a keynote presentation, we are having an event at the Boca Raton Innovation Campus. This is actually where Joy was on the TEDx stage. It's the same exact room. And I'm going to, if you scroll down, Jim, there's a video of the Boca Raton Innovation Campus. Maybe we can play that just for a second so people can understand the gorgeous venue, the professional venue here that we're going to be hosting this event at. So that's the we can stop it there, Jim, but that's the venue that is the actual conference room that Joy did her TED Talk at, and that's where we're going to be hosting this event. Where if you want to capture your keynote in video and create a sizzle and work with us one-on-one for, up until January 31st every week, we're going to be walking you through the keynote presentation and then videotaping this so you can take the video, because really that's what people are looking for. They're looking for an opportunity to get on a stage and build their brand. And we're going to be putting the event on. Dennis and I are going to be promoting the event. So we'll have hundreds of people in the audience, just like Joy had for her TED Talk. And then Joy, maybe you can speak to that experience and the venue a little bit.
Yeah, no, the venue's beautiful. We actually had another event there too, the women's event, where I was able to speak actually and had experience speaking on the stage. So, going back and doing the TED Talk there.
The Sisterhood for Success. Yes, we hosted that there too.
Yeah, so it was very comfortable. It's a beautiful, beautiful venue to speak at. And I think it's so important. And as you mentioned, having the background in media, I started off in television working for NBC. And, way back then, I feel ancient. Now it's like, it's funny when I tell my kids I worked for NBC, they're like, what's that? Like, it's not Netflix. It's not, they kind of don't even know. Or it's not impressive. But, back then our biggest sale in advertising, when television advertising was huge, was that it kind of gives you credibility when people see you on television, right? When they have video content. So even way back then, in the ancient days, it's always been that video content adds credibility because it's all the things, right? You get to see, hear, feel the emotion, feel the energy. It's everything. And we've seen that now translate over into social media, and something I take into the world of healthcare too, in promoting, physicians and medical practices, is if people can kind of feel like they know you prior to that, familiarity breeds comfort, it breeds trust. There's no better way to promote yourself. So if your goal is to, do keynote speaking, to work on your brand, to grow your social media, to grow your presence out there in the digital world, an opportunity like this is amazing. You get to come up, you get to practice, you get to prepare, you get to do a keynote speech. And then on top of that, you're going to leave with incredible coverage and content that you'll be able to cut and slice and repurpose over and over and over. It's so much better if you're submitting, to somebody or to a company wanting to do a keynote for them. If you can send them a clip of you speaking, it makes all the difference, right? It's way better than just seeing on paper, here's the topic, here's what I would talk about. If they can see it and feel it, it goes back to all those elements that I just described in doing that. So this is an opportunity like none other to come have the opportunity to speak and then walk away with the beautiful content. And Dennis does an amazing job. Him and his team do an amazing job with video content.
Yeah, thank you, Joy. And you're completely correct. Yeah, our job is going to be to capture you in the best light, so you'll be able to come out with a highlight reel sizzle, and you'll have enough content to repurpose across all your social media. Because in the end, when people are searching and you're trying to apply for different stages, most likely people are going to Google you. So you want to make sure your digital footprint is professionally set up and optimized, and video content is still number one type of content that engages and gets the most amount of views. So from our stage event, you're going to be able to come out with a whole library of content that you're going to be able to repurpose across, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, any social media. But more importantly, you're going to come out with a professional video, which you're going to be able to embed into your website and brand yourself as a professional speaker and a thought leader. So that's definitely one of the main points you're going to get.
And the other thing I just want to mention is that this is not just a video of your keynote. This is an actual event with hundreds of people in an audience in front of you, you know. So we're building this event with someone like Joy on stage with you. And we're actually going to be announcing 2 more influencers who are going to be sharing the stage with Joy on January 31st. So you, as someone who wants to build your thought leadership, will be able to be on the marketing material with Joy, with the 2 other thought leaders. And that helps. You know, we always say that, you know, collaboration is the new currency, right? And it helps you build your brand when you're standing along someone that has already built an incredible brand. Like George was saying, just elevating one another. And I feel like that is really powerful. And Jim, if you don't mind going back to the invitation, the Eventbrite, because I do want to share, Joy mentioned that she was one of the keynotes at the Sisterhood event that we hosted there. And if you scroll down, there is a little video of that event. And then there's some samples of the videos that Dennis and I have worked on together, some of the events, but also videos that his team created. This one right here with the Sisterhood, that the one that's right there. Yeah. Right there. Yep.
La, la, la. Warm it up, la 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 la. Warm it up, la 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 la. The boys are waiting. My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than yours. Damn right, it's better than yours. I can teach you, but I have to charge. My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than yours. Damn right, it's better than yours. I can teach you.
So you can see how that's not the sizzle, but that's part of the reels that you'll be getting too. And let's show the past event that Dennis and I just hosted, the $1 Million Weekend. So you can see what kind of sizzle that Dennis's team created. So I just wanted to share that. It just shows the caliber of work that Dennis's team does. And so you're going to walk away with, I guess we can go back on the main screen, Jim. Thank you so much. You're going to walk away with literally, coaching weekly from Dennis and Joy and I, like meetings that we'll have on a weekly basis. And then also creating assets and marketing materials for you alongside the other influencers like Joy. And then sharing a stage with with these people, and then also walking away with professional video content, which can help you build your brand and launch your speaking career if that's something that you're looking for, or if you already have a speaking career, it's another tool in your toolbox. And we've been doing this for, I mean, honestly, over 20 years. That's the other beauty of it. I've hosted over a dozen events at the Boca Raton Innovation Campus over the past 10 years. So we know the venue, we know how to build the audience. So this is a real event that we are going to build around you. So it's a really exciting opportunity. So many people have reached out to us. Literally Joy too, people are reaching out about, how to get a TED Talk, how to get a keynote, how to get on stages. And if we can build an event around you and you walk away with professional marketing material that you can use to market yourself, and we're going to throw in a lot of bonuses here too. But it's just an exciting opportunity. And we have it on Eventbrite. The link is in the chat, but we also are, we're having a special like 20% off. So DM us, Joy or Dennis or myself, and we will give you a private link to a discount that we're running through December 15th. And then we're going to be launching the masterminds at that time, the weekly calls.
I'm excited.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to mention, if anybody wants to join our community, the $1 Million Weekend private community, right now we're offering a free entrance. All you have to do is go to $1 Million Weekend, and there's a link, and you can actually start networking with our community members. After New Year's, we're probably going to be changing the terms, but right now it's still available as open access. So make sure you go to $1millionweekend.club.
Yeah, it's a great community, and we're excited because, like we talked about, just and I just feel like we have access to so many. I mean, having done TEDx for almost 10 years now, we'll be inviting some other really high-profile TEDx speakers to join our mastermind. We're going to have, as I mentioned, other people on the stage. But we're really, really excited about this event, and we're going to have another one in March. So this one is going to be our first baby, and that's why we're doing a promotion. If you want to reach out one-on-one to us, we can give you the private link to, so you don't have to go directly on Eventbrite. But yeah, everything is listed on that Eventbrite link, and I just can't say enough about working with Joy and how. I'll share. I've been following Joy since day one on LinkedIn, and we became she's one of my dearest and best friends, and I feel so blessed to know her, but she inspires me every single day. Like, I see her content, I see what she's doing. And I do think, that expression, you are, the 5 people that you surround yourself with. And she makes me a better person. And I don't want to get emotional, but I just feel so lucky. We've done so many beautiful things together. We went to Turks and Caicos on a business trip years ago. She was the keynote at the Sisterhood event at the Boca Innovation Campus. Obviously, she did the TED Talk and she earned it. I mean, she went through the process. We were so excited and so lucky to have her on the TEDx stage. And so I just wanted to share that. And I'm also, so proud to work with Dennis and his team, because his team does such incredible work. And I've had an agency for over 20 years now, and it's hard to find people that do really beautiful work and do what they say and say what they do. And his team just does such beautiful work. Every time I see different videos, and there's a lot of samples on that Eventbrite link if you want to take a look at it. But I'll let you guys just add some closing comments. But I just wanted to say thank you to everyone. Hope you got some value from today. We're excited about the new year, excited about helping in any way that we can.
Yeah, and if you have any questions, please reach out. I want to throw the love back at Cindy. she's kind of the yin to my yang. I'm the one that's kind of, all over the place, and she's the one that always reels me back in. Helps me refocus, helps me, do things more structured, like putting together, these amazing speeches and showing up to these incredible opportunities. And the events she puts on are beautiful. She does such an incredible job. She just thinks of everything, every detail. There's nothing left, untied, unbuttoned when she puts on an event. And, the same with Dennis. I've been able to be with him at a few of these different events where he's doing the video content. And I look back and I'm like, wow, he made me look good. And that's what, and that's the whole point. That's what he's gonna, that's what you need for your brand, is you need somebody to be able to, the organic content is great too for social. I mean, we all do a lot of that, but there's very far and fewer between moments where you have the opportunity, and you need the mix of having those professionally shot videos, like I said, to balance out all the organic type of content that we do. And I just think that's, when it comes to branding, when it comes to social media, I think that's the perfect mix, to have the organic everyday content, but you need those pieces that are professional, that are done well, and that showcase, your talent. And, having the opportunity to be up there on the stage as well and connect with everyone who's going to be at this event is, just even more icing on the cake here. So it's definitely a very rare opportunity that I think you need to, jump over while there's still slots available.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to also say this live, Cindy, thanks so much. And thanks for jumping in and spread your influence and brighten up everybody's day. Definitely very important, valuable messages that you share with us today. And thank you for that.
Sure, absolutely. Well, reach out with any questions, you guys. We would love to see you there. And who doesn't want to make a trip to South Florida in the end of January? I'm ready to go now. It already got cold here.
I know. And the other beautiful thing about this is literally building a legacy, like having something that you can capture on stage with your thought leaders is something that is like, it's so special, because it is building a legacy when you have your story, your message captured in video format that you can share, and it can live on in, eternity, really.
Yeah. And I'll say too, maybe you've already built a brand. Maybe you're like me, where you kind of had a brand, you have a large following. But I will say I've been a little bit of a slacker in the consistency of, keeping up with it. It's something you have to be consistent. You have to maintain. It's been a while since I've been on stage, since I've gotten the professional content. And, Cindy, there's Cindy again, like I'm telling you, reminding me, you got to stay on top of this. You got to keep moving forward. You got to keep up, with that kind of content and those opportunities as well. So this is definitely perfect timing for me, and for anybody out there who's ready to just refresh their brand, or, still be out there and take it to the next level. So all levels, welcome to come and can take advantage of this for sure.
Yeah, and it'll help elevate your brand, obviously. And with that, I wanted to say thank you to Jim, who's our producer behind the scenes. He's amazing. So thank you so much, Jim. He jumps in and helps us with running these lives, and we're so grateful to him.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Cindy. We'll see you guys in January.
Okay, have a great day, everyone. Talk to you. Bye. Here's to 2025.